What I've enjoyed most about my placement at WiseTech is just how welcoming and supportive everyone is. With each rotation, I've had two great mentors who are always here to support you and help you grow.
What I've enjoyed the most about WiseTech is the variety of people I've gotten to meet.
It's a support network that's created for the interns because it's been really nice to share the experience with similar-minded people.
Seeing how software is created in the real world.
The supportive environment.
Meeting new people. It's really hard to meet new people during these COVID times. So being able to see some fresh faces and learn from them was a nice change.
What I've most enjoyed about my placement at WiseTech was working with industry professionals because it really gives you a sense of what life's like after university.
Be open-minded and to have a can-do attitude. Be confident in what you're capable of doing and what you know, but also be okay with not knowing everything or not knowing what to do.
You only have a short period of time here, so try and make the most of it by learning as much as you can.
My advice to someone who's starting at WiseTech would be to try out different things because you will be supported by the people who work here.
Come in with a growth mindset and be willing to try new things.
Talk to as many people as you can. Not only does this really help you understand WiseTech and the way it works much faster, but it's also just so much fun to get to know all these different people.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard White, the CEO and founder of WiseTech Global. I've always had a real interest in technology. Even before I got into computers, I was really interested in technology generally. Early on in my career, I got some contracting jobs with logistics companies, and I realized that their systems were very poor, very disjointed, and in need of major rework. And I thought it was a problem that was large enough and complex enough that it was really worth solving. It would be very powerful to solve the problem well. I was able to take the initial problem set of international freight forwarding and customs procedures and turn that into a very valuable, highly sophisticated global business. This is a very complex area of business because you have to pass through two borders. And at that point, goods have to be cleared through a customs procedure. And as well as that, the logistics of the goods as they move has to be planned and optimized. And we build a system and deliver that system to our customers that is a complete solution for most of those capabilities and problems that you have to do international trade. We have customers in 130 plus countries, and we have a huge amount of the world's capabilities available to us on our platform, and we're growing it every single day. And we've become, a very, very standard system for the industry to use. I've always been very curious about how things work, and I've liked to solve problems. I like to understand what tools you can have to solve problems, and I like to innovate and create new ideas that solve problems. And all of those things together, plus the tenacity to keep moving, to keep pushing forward, and the ability to impassion yourself and the people around you to drive value and to create something of lasting significance is a really important part of the journey to building a successful business. Well, I think technology companies and technology people have always been at the forefront of cultural change and cultural adaptation. And COVID created a catalyst. Technology companies adapted incredibly smoothly and quickly, particularly WiseTech. We were thinking about going out of the workplace in March 2020, which was before anybody else was doing it in Australia. And by the middle of April, everywhere in the world that we had a business, people were working from home. And actually our productivity went up. Our people were able to continue to do their great work and be creative and innovative and powerful and deliver on time and do wonderful things with software whilst working together and yet digitally very connected but physically very remote. Well, I think first of all, technology has always been an industry that creates change and makes things better. It enables people to use their intelligence and their sophistication and their education and their abilities in ways that 20, 30, 40 years ago were unthinkable. It creates a very strong employment environment for people who want a stable and strong employment. It creates value for our communities and for our countries. Well, there's a couple of fundamentals that you have to build a clever business on. If you're going to be an innovator, you're going to be a disruptor. The whole idea about the status quo is that we're going to change it. And so you need a certain type of people that think differently, that want to work together to make a difference. And you can't get all that in one person. You have to have that in groups of people. And those groups of people need to work together to create that environment where unconventional ideas can come forward and questions can be challenging and people can disagree about things to get to the better answer. And you need a lot of things that are created when you have a diverse and inclusive workforce. That's really kind of the secret sauce. Well, remember that a technology company is still a business and it still has a lot of facets. It's not like every single person in WiseTech is a software developer. That's not true at all. We have marketing people, we have sales people, we have finance people, we have legal people. There are a lot of facets that are not cutting code. I happen to think that writing software is a very significant and powerful idea, and that by itself it does create the fundamental of the company, but there are a lot of capabilities that are needed in any company to make things good. When you're dealing with a large organization, which is largely about people working together, everybody has to have the ability to either find people with soft skills or to have those soft skills. The ability to inspire people, to drive passion into the business, to create that idea where curiosity is allowed and asking difficult questions is allowable is a fundamental idea. They're the skills that people need in order to bring everybody together and actually have people create something new and different and better. Well, I think you should give it very strong consideration. At first blush, technology seems like it's tough, hard to do, but you know, I can tell you that technology is a very cool industry with some fantastic people in it, and it's freeing of your lifestyle. It creates an environment where you can do things that you could never have thought possible. We support the movement of hundreds of millions of transactions of goods moving across borders every day of the year, and I think that's a really powerful thing. We are making a difference in society. We're making a valuable contribution to the Australian economy. We're giving a lot of our staff an important and valuable career, and we're making a difference to the world in terms of our social and economic and our environmental responsibilities.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanzim Saida. I'm currently a software engineer at WiseTech Global. I've been here for about 2 years, and I'm also a 4th year software engineering student at the University of Technology, Sydney. As a software engineer at WiseTech Global, usually I have meetings from 8 to 12 in the morning, and this includes code reviews or anyone that needs my help or input in something that they're planning. The rest of the day is for me to actually work on the work I'm doing. So that includes writing code, includes peer reviews, any kind of documents that we need to make. It's really exciting because I'm always working on solving real world problems using technology and real world logistics solutions. The thing I enjoy most about being a software engineer is just how broad it is. Often people think that because you're a software engineer, it's only about being in development, only coding, but it's actually more than that. And I really love how much I get to collaborate with other people and talk to other people about problems that we have and how we can use technology, how we can use our resources at WiseTech Global to solve those problems. When I was in year 9, I was looking at what I wanted to do in the future, and as a young person it often is really challenging because we're expected to decide what degree we're going to go into, what kind of path we have from a really young age. So I was looking at my options and I had chosen IST as my elective in year 9. My teacher came up to me and she was like, "Oh, Tanzim, have you ever heard of coding, programming?" And I had no idea what it was. I think at that moment it hit me why don't I just give it a go, because I don't really need anything. There's so much out there online. I started learning how to code in Python, and it was really satisfying to see when I typed something, I created something. The best advice I would give high school students that are looking to go into tech or have no idea what tech is to start now and just give it a go, because technology is the future of the world. A lot of things depend on this now. I feel like a lot of people give up because they feel like technology is just coding. It's so much more than that. and just you don't know what you don't know until you give it a go. Something that really helped me excel early at a young age was having the mindset that you don't need to be at a certain age to study something. When I started thinking like that, it just opened up so many opportunities for me. I knew that this is what I wanted to do in my career. I started looking at what I can do to get myself involved more in the industry. So I started applying to all these places, asking for 2 to 3 weeks of just work experience opportunities, just so I could experience what it would be like a day in the life of a software engineer would be like. After about like 200 emails I sent out, I was really fortunate to land a work experience opportunity at Google at the age of 15. It was incredible. I had no idea that would even be possible, but just the thought that I kept trying and never gave up, and meeting people that would help me get there. I'm a big believer in having mentors, because we don't have all the time in the world to keep making those mistakes over and over again. But if we start learning from other people that have been in our shoes, just as you are today, it makes the path more clearer, because you know what things might go wrong, what things might work. So I've always been really fortunate to have incredible mentors around me from when I was young in the industry. You're just putting yourself out there and you're asking for advice, and people are so happy to help you. So I've had amazing mentors from Girls Programming Network. My mentor from Google really helped me in deciding what I want to do in my career. I'm currently in a team at WiseTech Global called Software Operations. It's a very different team compared to the rest, because we focus on the whole WiseTech and how we can enable the WiseTech way in everything we do. That goes through what kind of tools we can use, what kind of tools we can provide developers with, what kind of behaviors makes a successful developer, how we should be more productive. The culture at WiseTech is amazing. We have a mantra that we follow across the company, that anyone can talk to anyone at any time. And what that does is break down hierarchy and puts us all in one place, and allows us to think as not just everyone around us as managers, but peers that we can approach. There's amazing initiatives that we have at WiseTech, like Bureau Clock, Cake Day. Initiatives like this just allows us to connect with other teams and other people from other places to give a different perspective.
Right, great. I hope everyone enjoyed that. And so for Q&A today, we have Damien Porter from WiseTech Academy. So we got a few questions here. As a developer, what would you say are the most important coding languages to learn?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't think there is any one coding language yet to learn. It's the best thing to learn. At WiseTech, predominantly what we use is C#, but that doesn't mean that's the best for everyone. Python is used a lot in other parts of the world, but I've used HTML, CSS, JavaScript, VB Script, SQL, all at my job in the current projects I'm working on here at WiseTech. The thing isn't learning a language, but it's learning how to think like a programmer, learning how to pick up things, because no matter what languages you learn, there are going to be things you don't know how to do in that languages, and there are going to be connections you have to make with other things. So learning how to pick skills up and learning how to learn how to program is actually a more valuable skill than learning how to program.
Yeah, and you mentioned project there. So what type of projects have you been working on at WiseTech?
Yeah, I'm part of the WiseTech Academy. We are a registered training organisation, so we provide education. We've been developing an LMS, or learning management system. So basically that's a way to provide content to people to enroll them and to view their progress and do reports and all that kind of stuff. As a part of that, we've written engines how to quiz and test people. We've written what we call a DIY content suite, which is sort of a way for people to create their own content. And so that's sort of a summary of the work that I'm part of in my team.
Yeah, nice. And so how has COVID affected the logistics industry, do you think?
Well, I'm certainly not an expert on this, but there are a number of things. At WiseTech, we a fair understanding, so we were able to sort of see the impact pretty early on. How it's affecting trade routes and things. One of the simplest ways is there are a lot less flights happening in the world. And you might not be aware of this, but pretty much every time you're on an international flight somewhere, there's a whole bunch of cargo underneath you. So it's got a whole lot harder to ship things internationally because there are less flights going, and actually chartering planes became a lot more common for shipping companies, and there were all these passenger planes just full of cargo because they weren't allowed to fly with people.
Yeah, okay, nice. And so what degree do you have? And I guess following up from that, what would you recommend for someone who wants to get into software development?
Yeah, sure. I went to City Uni and I got a Bachelor of Science, Advanced Mathematics, it was called, with majors in mathematics and computational science. I definitely wouldn't say I'd recommend that particular degree for anyone in software, but I would not recommend it either. There are a whole bunch of unis that have a whole bunch of degrees specifically around programming, games development, and all other kinds of things. And yeah, those degrees will do an excellent job of preparing you to work in software development. However, having said that, so did the science degree for me, because there are plenty of ways to study coding that along. And there's also, if you want to end up in the business sector, you can study science and business, or you can do a double degree with law, arts, whatever your passion is and whatever sort of sector you want to end up within there, you could study that too. And also the degree you start doing is not the degree you have to graduate in. So find a degree that sort of starts the way you would like it to start, studying what you want to know, and then work it out from there, really. I have to say the majority of my programming skills either came from before I ever went to uni, just playing around and learning how to code, or working at WiseTech. And that's when I really learned how to code in the real world. So universities are good and will help you prepare, but there's no one thing I can say that's going to prepare you the best.
Yeah, great. And talking about skills, aside from coding, what other skills would you consider important for a software developer?
Yep, sure. Teamwork is a big one. Teamwork and communication, they sort of go hand in hand. If we're not working as a team, we're not going to produce much. Like on our team, we have people that are doing graphics, UI, UX, people that are experts that are producing the content. We have team leaders. Having a great team leader is very important. That sort of corrals you all together. No matter what skills you can bring, no matter how good you are, a team of people will always be able to do it better. So I think one of the biggest skills that you can really learn is how to work in a team, how to do reviews as a team, and how to communicate effectively. Because without communication, teamwork's not really going to happen.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And so in your teams and your projects and such, what's your favorite part about working with WiseTech?
There's a lot of great things about working at WiseTech. I love the challenge and how I'm constantly being pushed. But I think it's the way that they take care of us. When we're in person, we do things like beer o'clock and cake days, like Tamzine mentioned. But they just we have a system in place, making sure that a leader's always looking after us, taking care of us. I think it's just you always feel like you're cared for as an individual. What you want to do is being respected, and they're always pushing you to be the best that you can be. So I think it's just how much I as an individual am being considered. I'm not just one cog in some massive machine of thousands of employees.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And so a final question for today is, are there any online courses that say like a high school student could apply for to get into software development?
There are a whole bunch of things in a whole bunch of places. YouTube would be one of the first places that I would go to, and there's less official courses there, but just more people doing things. Find somewhere that has learning material that you engage with. It could be an official course, which there's plenty of if you just check Google, or it could be something like school, like plenty of schools go through Grok Academy and do that a challenge every year, every 6 months. So there are other courses out there, but just engage in the content and find a project. Find a project that you enjoy doing and you can create something with your hands. It doesn't matter if it's small or if it's large, but when you see something doing when you want to do, that really gives you a sense of pride and achievement. That's really what's going to spur you on. You know, the first program everyone writes is Hello World, and that's cool and that's simple, but when you can really come up with something in your head and see it in person, it's a really great feeling.
All right, thank you so much, Damien, for sharing your experience and giving us all that great advice.
No worries.